Hey, so this is our second synthesis essay workshop video. If you finished the first video and you still wanted a little more direction, that's the purpose of this video. So in this video, we will look at how to actually use the sources in the essay itself and how to create a quick outline that will help you while writing without taking up too much of your time. So in the previous video, we looked at the prompt, it's the same prompt, and we looked through the sources, it's the same sources. So on the sources, in the previous video, I suggested that you first mark for, against, or both for each source. So hopefully you've done that on your sources. You should prep before you go into class tomorrow, so please come in having already done this on your sources. But you should have written F, A, or B on each of the sources, or at least the sources that you plan to use. Then you should identify the topic of each source, trying to find common topics amongst the sources so that you can use them in common body paragraphs, and make note of that in all the sources, or at least the ones you plan to use. And then next, I would strongly suggest to create an outline. So how do you create an outline? So you will have an intro and 3 body paragraphs, and if you have time, a conclusion. If you run out of time, just don't write a conclusion. It's not a big deal. But you do want to have these paragraphs right here. So for your intro, you just want to have some thoughts about what your thesis is going to be. I actually wrote out the thesis here. You do not need to write out the thesis for your outline. That means you'll be writing your thesis twice. That's a waste of time. But just for this instance of prepping for tomorrow, if you want to write your thesis beforehand, go for it. But on the actual testing day, just write your thesis in the actual booklet in your intro. Then for your paragraphs, all you will do is write the topic that you will address for each paragraph and then the sources that you're going to use. So what does this look like? Here we have a sample essay, and you can actually access the sample essay in the resources in the PLP. But what I want you to notice is that this first paragraph that the student wrote has their thesis in it, and it's actually a very long thesis. Their thesis starts here and goes all the way here. All right, so if you want to pause and take a moment to read this thesis, go for it. But essentially what the thesis does is it outlines what their first, second, and third body paragraph will be about. So, and it does it quite well. So as we move on to the first body paragraph, you can feel free to pause and read it. But what I want to draw your attention to is how the sources have been integrated. So it will be very much worth pausing and looking at how they have their context, their tag phrase, that opens up into a quote and then has their in-text citation, which can be the author's last name or the letter of the source. And then here we have that again, for example, in an article, so they have their transition, their tag phrase, and that opens up into a quote, and then they have their in-text citation, okay? So what this would look like in my outline before I even write this is I would have the topic. So what I have here is the counter argument that honor codes create a totalitarian school environment. And we can see that here. Firstly, one might think that honor codes will create a totalitarian sort of school environment. So we can tell that this is their counter argument because they say one might think, already placing doubt, but this is probably not true since it's their counter argument. So they will explain why people think this and ultimately why they're wrong. And so I put that topic right here. Then all I do is I put the 2 sources that I'm going to use to discuss that. The reason why I'm not writing any more is because if I did my job correctly, when I go to these sources here, such as A, or moreover, where's F? Here, F, I've hopefully done my job by highlighting 2, 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 lines that I thought I might use in my essay. So all that I need to do is go and grab one of those annotations and just write it directly into my paragraph to save myself time. So essentially what this outline allows is for you to go and remember where to grab your evidence when you're writing and you know you've come to the time when you need your evidence. So you write your topic sentence and you go, oh, I need evidence. Okay, Bacall. All right, I'll go to source A. Yes, that is the cartoon. All right, this is what I need. and then I put it in there, and then I continue with my writing, go, oh, I need another piece of evidence, okay, I want McCabe and Favela, and so I go to F, and then I pull it, and then I finish writing my paragraph. And so it goes very smoothly if you've done that. So then, with paragraph 2, you'll find your next topic. So it says, secondly, some say that an honor code would do little to actually reduce cheating. All right, so again, this is really interesting. They have another counter argument that honor codes would not reduce cheating. Okay, and so that's the topic. I put that in my outline, and then I put the 3 sources that I want for that topic so that when I'm actually writing this paragraph, I can go and grab them easily. Then in my outline, I'd have my third one, and it might say, furthermore, one might say that a too strict or too lenient honor code would not be especially effective for those who attend school. So, kind of interesting approach by the student. Counter argument, it might be too strict. So an interesting tactic that they take, and one that I would not necessarily suggest for you, is that they kind of present all their points in the negative and then go to disprove it. It kind of works. It's an interesting tactic. It might work. You can read the essay and decide if you think it works. But the next topic is that it might be too strict, and then if you read the essay, they go through and talk about kind of how you can make it not too strict, because if you read their thesis, they say that there's proper ways to adapt it. And then in your outline, you would have the 2 sources so that you can easily pull from it when you write your third paragraph, and then they have a conclusion here because they had time. So I would strongly suggest creating an outline of your own. Don't copy the student unless if you magically thought of the same exact stuff that they did. It's going to be very difficult to write another person's idea. So while this is here for you to use as a guide, come up with your own ideas, come up with your own position, look at the sources, come up with your own topics, create your own topic sentences, create your own thesis. It'll be much easier to write if the foundation is actually your ideas. That'll come more naturally to you. I hope that this helped clear up any questions that you might have. Again, if you still have questions, please feel free to email me, or a better idea would be to drop by and see me before school, and I can answer any questions that you have right away. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Good luck.